So I've been playing Call of Dragons for a while, and I believe it's time for us to have a proper review for the game where I share with you my thoughts on the game and the pros of cons in it, and whether if you should continue playing or start playing Call of Dragons or not. So stick around in this video because we're going to be reviewing right now one of my most favorite games in the game I'm solely addicted to, Call of Dragons. What is up guys, MEOWER here back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. So as you know, Call of Dragons has been the main topic of this channel for a while. And of course, if you like content for Call of Dragons, then you've come to the right place. If you're new to Call of Dragons, you've also come to the right place. So don't forget to drop a like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It does help it out and it does help me out as well. With that being said, so let's start this review. So the main things I'm going to be reviewing about Call of Dragons is its commander system, its artifact systems, its pros and cons, the pass system, like everything that's related to the game and what differentiates it from other games, plus some really good stuff that I really like about it and some stuff I don't like about it that much. So we're just gonna having some pros and cons of the game and whether if you should ultimately play Call of Dragons or not. So, that being said, let's get started. Of course, Call of Dragons is made by the same company or a subsidiary from the company that made the very famous game Rise of Kingdoms. So, of course, it's going to have a similar hero system to it. If you haven't played Rise of Kingdoms, then and Call of Dragons is the first one in the genre. Don't worry, it's super newbie friendly. It's got some really great graphics. I think I have the lowest graphics turned on. I think I should really turn it really high so you guys could really check the real beauty of the game and how beautiful the graphics are. As you can see, it's so smooth, it's so clean and crispy. I think the graphics are one of the best things of the game. Like even in lowest settings, you don't feel like it's that low at all because Call of Dragons does have a 3D model design graphic thing. I think it's called. I'm not sure really. I'm not really that tech savvy, but it's still a very beautiful game. It's got some really nice commander system. And what's beautiful about this game is that almost every commander is viable one way or another. So there are three tiers of commanders. We got the elites, we got the epics, and of course we got the legendaries. Of course, eventually legendaries become everything, but till then, elites are still very viable in this game. So the balancing wise for the game, it's really well balanced actually. Some commanders are super viable depending on which situations are. Like there is not a situation where commanders just flat out bad and unusable. Like even Garwood, that used to be a meme in the community, is usable again, even though there are no direct changes to it. Just the meta and how it evolves, and players learned how to play. Like it's so in depth for the builds you can do, the pairings, the artifact system, which I'm going to be touching on in a little bit. So you can see every commander has four skills and an awakened skill, making it a total, I believe, five skills, I guess I would say. You can upgrade the commanders in terms of levels, in terms of stars. Each star provides a different bonus. You can see like, everything is telegraphed as possible. There is, of course, the stamina system, which really differentiates Call of Dragons from any other game in the genre, I believe. I don't think any game has adapted the stamina system. So the stamina system for Call of Dragons is kind of like a limiter on whales and really just everyone. It really prolongs the fighting, which is a good thing for that style of fighting that Call of Dragons have because Call of Dragons adapts a four troop type combat system, and each troop specializes in a certain thing, which is pretty amazing, which we're going to be touching up a little bit forward into the video. So don't click anywhere. The stamina system is pretty amazing because, in my opinion, it really makes the game or rather forces you to pace yourself properly in the game so that you're not out of stamina and you're eventually useless for your alliance. There are every commander has 100 stamina, and you consume 10 stamina as soon as you enter combat once, and you can just keep on entering combat over and over and over again in the open field map as long as you don't retreat, as soon as you retreat back to your city though, and launch again from your city, you're going to consume another 10 stamina, etc., etc., etc. And once you have no stamina whatsoever, the commander cannot leave the city, even just to farm darklings. So you should pace yourself properly, and the game does force you to pace yourself properly But that doesn't mean you're not going to have fun in the open field. Call of Dragons, in my opinion, and one of its biggest strength points is the combat system, which we're going to be showcasing right now. As you can see here, there are some commanders. There are ranged combat, there are melee combat, there are cavalry, infantry being the main tanks, mages, archers. Like it's got it all. It's got a very complex system that is very easy to learn but super hard to like really min max everything. And of course, there are three factions. And what's beautiful about the game is that every faction has different troops, meaning that the archers for the faction I'm in, the Wilderberg, is different than the archers for the League of Order, and they have different skills and different, but they do have the same stats, but they have different skills. While the special unit, the flying unit, and of course, Call of Duty does have flying units. I think it's the only game that also has flying units like that there where they can pass terrain and such, is different for each and every faction, making it extremely unique, making opening a lot of possibilities for factions. For example, Wildeburg has possibilities that the League of Order has, or the League of Order has possibilities Spring Warden doesn't have, and so on. So it's really different in the terms that every faction is unique and every faction's cities especially looks amazing. So this is the city, the League of Order. I don't know, this is another Wilderberg. This just has a city skin. This is the Spring Warden faction city. As you can see, it looks absolutely beautiful. This is the League of Order. It also looks absolutely beautiful. So every faction looks completely different than another and plays different than the other. Speaking of playing different from the other, there is also the artifact system. So the artifact system is pretty unique, I would assume, or unique is the word I guess I'm looking for, is that they augment stats. They allow for a unique skill that you can pull off. Let's see if we can show it off here. Attacking Darklings, which are the open field map NPCs that you can farm for speed ups, resources, etc. There are four types of resources. Like the game is just so interesting, so unique. See here, I'm activating an artifact. Every artifact has a different active range, different damage, different everything. Like it's just so unique and so amazing. It has the alliance system, the alliance gifts, where if someone buys stuff here, you can see it in the rare, and here just from farming forts. Like there are a lot of stuff that you can always do with your alliance or solo that you it's really rare to feel bored in the game, especially it is still fairly new, so the events might not seem as much as you believe, but they're still actively developing the game, which brings me up to the topic where I think is a little bit of a con. I don't know if it's a direct con or not, where they're a bit slow on the updates. So they're a bit slow on adding new content for the game. But when they do add content, it kind of shifts the game completely. Like so far, they've been hitting every proper content drop or every patch note, it really be hitting home runs. Like I haven't seen a patch be bad that caused a community outcry. There are some bad changes here and there, but they end up being like a blessing in disguise. Once players adapt to it, it doesn't really feel that bad at all. There is, of course, the free healing part, which I want to touch up on. Troops cannot die in the open field combat, and there is free healing for you to free heal your troops. Throughout the day, you can heal a maximum of 500,000 troops. So, in a way, you can't really zero yourself, which pretty much makes it so your stamina is the limiter in later on stages of the game as soon as you chain more troops. And speaking of troops, there are five tiers of troops: T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. You can unlock them from the researches here. There is two research trees, the military tree and the economy tree, which is another pro. And there is the goblin market, which I think is one of the more unique parts of Call of Dragons, especially the exchange store, which is an amazing pro that you can always scrap everything you don't need, except, of course, legendary hero tokens, which I think they're working on a system to exchange them. In that you can buy gold keys, you can buy artifact keys to unlock new stuff, you can buy speed ups. Like there's always stuff for you to exchange your inventory for in order to make use of them. You can also get elixirs to heal your troops even more throughout the fight. There are the artifact keys in order to summon artifacts. You can see here there's the probability. There is the behemoth system, which is pretty unique in that you can capture behemoths and you can still summon them. So that's a humongous pro. Like all in all, like a lot of aspects of Call of Dragon is heavily inspired from Rise of Kingdoms, but it's more fine-tuned. It's better well off. Every behemoth has a different tactic, has a different strategy, has a different gameplay loop that you need to figure out, and a different strategy that you need to do in order to beat it, capture it, and gain its rewards. There's also the Augur Stone system. Call of Dragons works on a seasonal system where every season is like 90 days, I believe, is the max. And then, depending on how well you do, you're going to be getting rewards based on that. So you can see you can get more stuff here at the end of the season. You can get more artifacts, and then you get gems based on the amount of milestones you've achieved in order to maximize your wins. So all in all, like I think Call of Dragons is absolutely amazing. I've fallen in love with it for a reason. There's the Dragon Trail where you can keep farming stuff to get XP, to get new stuff, to get everything really you need. And it's a good place for you to practice your positioning and practicing your troop micro because in later on stages of the fights there are a lot of micro that you will need to do. The battle logs are pretty in depth that you can see what went where, the provocation, hunter space, spear, etc, etc, etc. Like you can see what gets triggered and what doesn't get triggered. Like it's pretty good. Like all in all, it's pretty in depth. So if you ask me, would you play Call of Dragons, then I would say most definitely you should. Because the game is amazing. It's still fairly new, so it's a perfect time for you to get in. Of course, it has the regular monetization system for any game of this genre, really, where you get gems. This is a special currency that you can use to buy speed ups, buy items, buy keys, buy tokens that you can use to upgrade your commander skills, like etc. 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 Just so much stuff for you to do. There are speed ups. There are construction speed ups, troop training speed ups, research speed ups, and universals. There are a lot of resources for you to gain and such. Like all in all, it's just a really in-depth game, and it's not really that overwhelming either, which is an amazing pro for it. There is also the policy system, which is pretty unique in that you can upgrade and augment your stats in order to improve yourself versus the enemy, which is really just impactful at the start of the season. Later on, it's not really that impactful because everyone will be maxed out. So yeah, should you play Call of Dragons? Yes, yes, you should. It's one of the best games, in my opinion. Has one of the highest potentials right now, and I think it's gonna last a really long time. Even though the global release was like, I think it was in April, the start of April, and the game is still fairly new, so there's a lot of potential. There are a lot of updates coming that developers have planned out, a lot of new content that's going to be added to the game, which is going to make it even fresher and even more possible. Usually, games like this, you start for the gameplay and stay for the community. So far, I'm in love with the community. That's one of the main reasons why I'm still playing this game so far. So, most importantly, you will have a lot of fun. Even if you fail on your first server, you can always make another account in another server, and the sky is just the limit for you in this game. So you should definitely check it out. I do have a link in the description for it to download the game if you are a new player. If you're a recurring player, then you've made the right choice to keep playing this game. I just like it a lot. I'm loving the game, and I think you will love it as well. Of course, if you like content like this, please be sure to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Meow meow.